So Thursday 9th of September, Elvis was here behind Cat's drugstore. The flatbed truck would have been set up behind the store here. This is Lamar Airway Shopping Centre. This opened in 9th of September, and Elvis and the boys were hired to perform here at the opening on a flatbed truck. One of the people in the crowd that day was a very young Johnny Cash, got talking to Elvis, and Elvis invited him out to the Eagle's Nest the next night on the 10th, Friday the 10th, because Elvis was playing there, so he invited Johnny Cash to come out and see him play. 3 days later, after performing here, actually on Sunday 12th of September 1954, Elvis was back at Memphis Recording Service, laying down the classic Good Rockin' Tonight. So his career was really starting to gain momentum by this time. Of course, this was just 2 months after making his first recording at the Memphis Recording Service. 2 months after recording That's Alright Mama. Yes, we're up to the Ryman Auditorium, where the Grand Ole Opry stage and radio show used to broadcast from. Elvis appeared on there once on October 2nd, 1954. I was invited, Sam Phillips managed to get him a tryout performance. And Elvis sang Blue Moor of Kentucky, which was, shall we say, only greeted lukewarmly. The Opry crowd was more conservative. Bill Monroe was the legend at the time, and of course Blue Moor of Kentucky was almost Bill Monroe's signature song, which was more of a waltz time song, but Elvis of course really juiced it up a bit, so Elvis wasn't invited back. Shame nobody had the foresight to take a picture of Elvis on stage in 1954. Ernest Tubb Record Shop, an unlikely place, but Elvis actually had a performance here on October the 2nd, 1954. Ernest Tubb had his own radio show that broadcast out here live on midnight, and it was after Elvis's tryout on the Opry. Elvis this year at midnight and performed in the store. Midnight Jamboree, that's the one that Elvis October 2nd, 1954. Probably down here on that very stage. On Friday the 30th of October 1954, Elvis was out at one of his regular gigs at that time, out on the Eagle's Nest, out on in the Clearpool complex out on Lamar. And Oscar Davis had, at Bob Neal's suggestion, had gone just to watch Elvis perform. Now Oscar Davis was Colonel Tom Parker's advanced promotions man. And he was in Memphis at the time because Eddie Arnold had a concert at the Ellis Auditorium the next night on the 31st of October 1954. This was the site of the Ellis Auditorium. Now, Colonel Tom Parker at one point had managed Eddie Arnold. Eddie Arnold had by this time fired him as his manager, but just soften the blow and perhaps make it a bit easier for Parker. He still allowed Parker to set up some dates, some gigs for him, and this Memphis one on 31st of October was one of those dates. Elvis actually came to the Ellis Auditorium to watch Eddie Arnold perform. Of course, Elvis was nowhere near the stature of playing the Ellis Auditorium himself at that time. However, he did, being in the music industry, he did manage to get a backstage pass, if you like, to meet Eddie Arnold, and this is the first time that Elvis and Colonel Tom Parker actually met, however briefly. Apparently Parker had said to Elvis, maybe I can arrange some dates for you sometime in the future. Maybe more of a throwaway remark than an actual, any firm commitment, obviously. But back in the Eddie Arnold that night with the Jordanaires, and Hoyt Hawkins of the Jordanaires does recall how Elvis told him that night that maybe one day he could get the Jordanaires to back him again. More of a throwaway remark, obviously. At the time, Elvis only up and coming, no inclination yet as to just how big he was going to be. So that was the first probable meeting of Elvis and Colonel Tom Parker, was here at the Ellis Auditorium on 31st of October 1954.